right, so today we are back. What's going on out there? So today we got a little something to show y'all today. Gonna get down to the nitty gritty. As soon as we get a couple people in here, let me cue a little things up over here. What's going on? Let me see. Let me put the link in there today. Julie TV, what's the deal? Show a little something out there. This is what's happening. Knowledge born, what's the deal? Sleeper cell. All right. Shalal, what's the deal? Sleeper cell, hopefully you're not dangerous. That's quite a name right there. Mills Wave. Welcome to the channel. Just trying to get in here where I can see the comments good. You know what I'm saying? But look, I'm about to show y'all some this is the type of stuff. This the type of stuff right here that I follow. You know what I mean? So you can see right there on the screen right here, right? Medina, what's the deal? You can see right here on the screen where it says, just had a good conversation with NASA regarding 3-Eye Atlas. As soon as the government reopens, they'll be releasing images / data. Unfortunately, due to, what is this here? Something's covering my screen. Due to bureaucratic reasons, they cannot until then. You know what I mean? So 3-Eye, what that stands for is the I stands for interstellar object, right? Meaning that this object is traveling. It traveled from outside the galaxy, and now it's inside the galaxy, right? And this is the third. This is the third object here, right? This is the third interstellar object that they've studied. And Atlas is the system. Atlas is the system that they detected this object on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let them take over right now. We're gonna hear this out, right? We're gonna hear this out. You know what I mean? Shout out to News Nation. I can't recall the name of the host. You know what I'm saying? But this is a news channel right here. So we're gonna check this out. Hey, listen, we're not gonna jump to conclusions, Julie TV. You know what I'm saying? Right, Quizar Quaco LeBron said it indicates that it's not bound by our sun's gravitational pull. But see, that's the definition of it's not a part of this galaxy. So without further ado, right, we're gonna let the professionals take over from here. You know what I'm saying? And give us a clue. Give us a clue about what's going on. So let me get this. Let me get this on the biggest screen there, so we can see, everybody can see who they dealing with, right? And here we go.
I want to bring back in live Professor Avi Loeb tonight, renowned theoretical physicist, Harvard professor, head of the Galileo Project. Professor Loeb, always good to see you. And, first, Professor, you've also been calling on NASA to release the image. The government is back open. No image. What do you make of this?
Well, thanks for having me. I was told by two sources that, in fact, NASA plans to release those images in a few days, in the middle of next week. So let's just keep our fingers crossed, because these should be the highest resolution images. And also, they should be from the side of those outflows. That will give us much more information, because 3I Atlas passed within 29 million kilometers from Mars when the images were taken back on October 2nd to 3rd. And that offered an unusual opportunity to get a high-resolution view of it. The case that was made is that they required some processing, these images, and therefore they could not have been made public during the government shutdown. I prefer to believe that storyline than any conspiracy theories at this time.
Okay, so the new images of 3I Atlas seem to show the tail is back. What is the significance? What do you make of this?
Well, actually, we don't just see a tail. In the latest images, we see of all the 7 jets coming from the surface of the central object, some of them towards the sun, some of them away from the sun. What surprises me is that they are tightly collimated, and that is surprising because the object is rotating. The last time we checked, it has a rotation period of only 16 hours, and the length of these jets is 1 million kilometers. You would expect that the material making up these jets had to go across that distance over a period of a month, given the typical speed of outflows from comets. And during a month, it would have been smeared by the rotation of the object. So then the question is, what is going on? One possibility is that it's only the pockets of ice facing the sun that are getting warmed up, but we see jets going on the opposite direction, away from the sun. Another possibility is that perhaps the object broke up, and what we see is the trail of material from the fragments flying out. But the problem is that we got the latest image, and it looks like a single object in the middle. So we don't know what is going on. Of course, it's possible also that these are thrusters from a technological object that are used to maneuver or navigate, and obviously in that case, they will maintain their orientation. So the verdict is still out, and I'm very much looking forward to getting more data in the coming weeks. That's the way science should be done. It's like a detective story. And any of my colleagues who claims to know that it's a comet of a type that is familiar to us, is not really curious or imaginative.
Well,
about
let me ask
nature.
you more about that. Last week we spoke with Dr. Michio Kaku. He gave his input on the object when asked if there were any indications it could be alien in nature. Let's listen to his reply.
I think it's non-zero, but it's very small. So far, it looks like an ordinary comet. It behaves like an ordinary comet. And except for these a few anomalies, it does act like an ordinary comet.
What is your response to him tonight?
Well, I listed this morning 12 anomalies associated with the object, and anyone that wants to see them, they are on medium.com, the latest essay. And I suggest that whoever says this is a familiar comet would write a paper explaining all of these anomalies.
Yeah, Professor Loeb, we're almost out of time, but I was reading this article right before our show tonight. Of the 12 anomalies, which one stands out to you the most as the most compelling that this could be extraterrestrial in nature?
Well, it's the fact that it's lined up with the plane of the planets from the beginning. And it's also a very big object, much more than we expected, because the previous ones were 1 million times less massive. Both of these are fundamentally difficult to explain out. So I'm saying let's wait and check what this object is in the coming weeks rather than give the verdict already now.
I hear it. Professor Avi Loeb, it's always a pleasure for me to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So, what do what do we think about that right there? You know, 'cause, you know, look, scientifically, right? If we just being scientific, right, and we considering all possibilities there, right? You know, uh, once again, if some of y'all out there, you haven't been doing the right thing, and you think that you might have some problems, you might have some issues, with getting on the mothership, right? That you may not be the chosen because of the things that you've been doing, right? Hit the cash app, and I'll put in a word for you. I'll put in a word for you. Look, we got tickets to heaven. At this point right now, it ain't even no price because we can see that the last days is upon us. So what I'm gonna say is, look, I'm gonna open up the bidding. I'm gonna open up the bidding right now, and you know, may the best man or woman win. Who remembers Cosmic Slop? One episode, the mothership returned and came to collect everyone that was darker than a brown paper bag. I don't know if I saw that. Luke Cage, Julie TV said, if it moves like a comet and it looks like a comet, it's an alien spacecraft. But look, what about the part where they said that it looked like it broke up, right? They said it looked like it broke up, but then when they looked at it, it was one object in the middle. So was that in fact baby planes, being released, and the multiple jets that they're saying that they're seeing are the various baby planes maneuvering? The various baby planes maneuvering next to the mothership? Menados, why you laugh? I'm trying. You see, that's the problem with you 5%ers, right? You can't be serious with y'all. 793rd. I don't know. Should we bring this back? I don't know. I don't know if y'all want to see that. If we need to study that again. I'm saying I don't know if y'all need to see that again. See, y'all not very scientific, man. Y'all are not very scientific. You see what this is the result of right here? You know what this is the result of? You know why y'all don't think this is important? So you know when say the devil planted fear in him when he was a little boy? See, the fear has been taken out of the 5%. You see, the fear that you're gonna go to hell, that you're gonna be uh, struck down, or whatever the case may be. That's the problem with you people. Cause y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand that this could be the last days right here. See, I told you they just swing by another planet. They picking up They just picking up the squad right now. See, I don't see no alerts coming on my Cash App over here neither. I don't see, I don't see, I don't see the alerts hitting the Cash App. So I guess all of y'all think y'all righteous. Is that what it is? Y'all under the impression that y'all righteous? We'll see. When it's time, when it's time to weigh and judge everything, how they say, into one grain of sand. But what's the deal out there otherwise? I see y'all not, has anybody, I've been following that since December. You said they coming to get Dr. York. I mean, I guess that would be that would be something he would like to hear. How long has he been in there now? Said if it ever will happen, then now would be the time. I mean, my personal the time has been come and gone. In terms of any type of uh, prophecy or whatever, any type of to say that somebody's coming to save the people on the planet. I think it's already been enough that's happened, right? And nobody showed up. that, that at this point, uh, anything is possible, but the probability has to be extremely low at this point. King Divine Master, 100. it's, it's been 135 years. Oh, he went in. Oh, Dr. York went in 2004 for 135 years. So he got 111 years left. Yeah, pretty much. That's about the only thing that could save him at that point. Then Neighbor May said the closest it will reach Earth is December 19th. Look, that's you assuming. You're assuming. You're assuming here, right, that this is not the mothership. Look, I'm with the scientists right there. Let's wait. Let's give it a couple of days. There's been updates. That particular uh, uh, clip right there. That's a couple of days ago, right? So it's updates. This is the type of thing. But see, look, I do that. See, I do the knowledge on multiple levels. You know, Oddly enough, I got that from the Dukes of Hazzard. being born. I got that from the Dukes of Hazzard. It was an episode of the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Where I can't remember what it was. I think somebody was spying on somebody, and they was on the roof, right? And you remember Dukes of Hazzard had the narrator. So the narrator says, in Hazzard County, nobody ever looks up unless something comes down. And so that was the first time that I realized that you got to do the knowledge 360 degrees. you got you got to do the knowledge to everything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I look at things, from the microscopic level to, because all of those is various degrees. You understand what I'm saying? Where, you know, you got the naked eye, you know what I'm saying? But then with the third eye, you can get down to the atomic level of seeing things. You see what I'm saying? And you can get to the universal level of seeing things. Because you got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Or when you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I mean? Because it's all different things, right? Meaning, like, look, on on just with the naked eye, right? If you look at your hand, it look like one thing, right? But if you look at it with a microscope, it look like a whole bunch of things. Shamik J. Saint, welcome to the channel. So yeah, at any rate, I do the knowledge to, I do the knowledge of things on all various planes like that. You said, what sovereign powers on Earth that has power would inflex its might if an interstellar higher civilization would have rolled up on this world and flexed big time, not passed by and took pictures? Hey, look, we'll see when Far pull up. we'll see. We'll see what happens when they pull up. Have you heard of the Battle of Los Angeles? Anyone? Has anyone here heard of the Battle of Los Angeles? Julie TV, you heard of the Battle of Los Angeles, so you know about this. I'm just saying. He asked the question. He asked the question, what might happen if they rolled up and flexed? So that could be, that could be. So Neighbor May said that's documented. So look, for the audience, right? Tell us, where's that documented? Where can we go? Where can we go and check that out? See, we got a lot of new people y'all might have missed. I don't know if some people, they watch from the beginning anyway, right? But if y'all need to see, this evidence again of the mothership, right? If y'all want to see the evidence of the mothership again, type one in the box, right? And we'll have the Harvard professor explain his point of view once again. Robbie? You said there's a movie, but it's not a documentary. Joe Richardson. Yeah, I said, therefore they all agreed the only God is the Son of Man. Hey, listen, that's the main one. That's the main. That's the main agreement. That's the main agreement right there. You know what I'm saying? Bernadette Bernie, welcome back to the channel. So look, we got a couple of people, I guess, that missed the beginning, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this back. We're gonna bring this back here, right? Let's see if we, how do we get this back to the beginning over here? We're gonna bring this back, right? And we're gonna have the professor explain to us once again about this interstellar object and you know, some things that are interesting, some interesting phenomenon about this object.
In live, Professor Avi Loeb tonight, renowned theoretical physicist, Harvard professor, head of the Galileo project. Professor Loeb, always good to see you. And, you know, first, Professor, you've also been calling on NASA to release the image. The government is back open. No image. What do you make of this?
Well, thanks for having me. I was told by two sources that, in fact, NASA plans to release those images in a few days, in the middle of next week. So let's just keep our fingers crossed, because these should be the highest resolution images, and also they should be from the side of those outflows. That will give us much more information, because 3I Atlas passed within 29 million kilometers from Mars when the images were taken back on October 2nd to 3rd. And that offered an unusual opportunity to get a high-resolution view of it. The case that was made is that they required some processing, these images, and therefore they could not have been made public during the government shutdown. I prefer to believe that storyline than any conspiracy theories at this time.
Okay, so the new images of 3I Atlas seem to show the tail is back. What is the significance? What do you make of this?
Well, actually, we don't just see a tail. In the latest images, we see of all the 7 jets coming from the surface of the central object, some of them towards the sun, some of them away from the sun. What surprises me is that they are tightly collimated, and that is surprising because the object is rotating. The last time we checked, it has a rotation period of only 16 hours, and the length of these jets is 1 million kilometers. You would expect that the material making up these jets had to go across that distance over a period of a month, given the typical speed of outflows from comets. And during a month, it would have been smeared by the rotation of the object. So then the question is, what is going on? One possibility is that it's only the pockets of ice facing the sun that are getting warmed up, but we see jets going on the opposite direction, away from the sun. Another possibility is that perhaps the object broke up, and what we see is the trail of material from the fragments flying out. But the problem is that we got the latest image. And
see, that's the part right there, what I'm saying, right? What if that is baby planes, right? Baby planes, right? They could be flying out to do missions, right? They flying out to do missions, and so that's why you're seeing the various coordinated jets. You heard it here first.
it looks like a single object in the middle. So we don't know what is going on. Of course, it's possible also that these are thrusters from a technological object that are used to maneuver or navigate. And obviously, in that case, they will maintain their orientation. So the verdict is still out, and I'm very much looking forward to getting more data in the coming weeks. You know, that's the way science should be done. It's like a detective story. And any of my colleagues who claims to know that it's a comet of a type that is familiar to us, you know, is not really curious or imaginative
Well,
about
let me ask
nature.
you more about that. Last week we spoke with Dr. Michio Kaku. He gave his input on the object when asked if there were any indications it could be alien in nature. Let's listen to his reply.
I think it's non-zero, but it's very small. So far, it looks like an ordinary comet. It behaves like an ordinary comet. And except for these a few anomalies, it does act like an ordinary comet.
What is your response to him tonight?
Well, I listed this morning 12 anomalies associated with the object, and anyone that wants to see them, they are on medium.com, the latest essay. And I suggest that whoever says this is a familiar comet would write a paper explaining all of these anomalies.
Yeah, Professor Loeb, we're almost out of time, but I was reading this article right before our show tonight. Of the 12 anomalies, which one stands out to you the most as the most compelling, that this could be extraterrestrial in nature?
Well, it's the fact that it's lined up with the plane of the planets from the beginning. And it's also a very big object, much more than we expected, because the previous ones were 1,000,000 times less massive. You know, both of these are fundamentally difficult to explain out. So I'm saying let's wait and check what this object is in the coming weeks rather than give the verdict already now.
I hear it. Professor Avi Loeb, it's always a pleasure for me to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
I want to bring.
So there we have it. There we have it. So what is this here? Why the mothership always hiding and ducking? It's not hiding and ducking. That's the cloaking device. So you gotta you see this the technology you gotta get you gotta come into this Quran. This is high science, black man. High science. Neighbor May said 3-eye means it's the third object. So what happened to 2-eye Atlas? You see, this is what they say. This is what they trying to show you, that this is not like the others. All from one. Peace, divine understanding. The movie is called Battle Los Angeles 2011, but there's a documentary called The UFO Battle of Los Angeles. And so does it cover the baby planes? Elijah Muhammad said that there was life on other planets, but still no life wiser or being more supreme than the original man here on Earth. He said, we're so intelligent, we're crazy, always experimenting on ourselves to learn more about ourselves. Well, you know, when I hear that, you know what I'm saying? What I hear is, you know, look, on whatever other planet, right, in whatever galaxy or whatever it may be, right, on that planet, there's an original man over there. See, like this is our home. Is if that's somebody else's home over there, right? Then there's an original man over there, right? And there's a colored man over there. You see what I'm saying? And the original man is my brother, and the colored man is the devil. He just like everywhere else. Just like everywhere else that I've been over the last period of time since I had this knowledge. So there's also a video on the History Channel on YouTube, the alien threat behind the Battle of LA. You know what? I'm gonna check out some of these, after I get out, after I get off here. Seems interesting. I don't know if they covered the whole. I don't know if they if they're covering the whole truth, but we'll see. Wise understanding. He said these are space dust objects acting on each other to physical law in the space environment that we can't understand the environment from so far away. That's possible. You see, this is what I'm saying. Like, look, see, other people, right? If I said this around people, right, that have fear, you know what I'm saying? The reaction would be different. See, that's the problem with the 5%, man. Is that see, Allah taught us not to have fear. See, because we don't believe in heaven or hell, right? We don't believe that you step on a crack and break your mother's back and all this type of stuff, right? Then you can't really get 5% to respond to the fact that this could be the last days. You see, and you could get caught right in the middle of all this negativity that you've been doing. You said the fourth degree and the 1 in 14 states when the planet was first found. What is that? How you can you clarify that? Because are you saying that it gives you a date, or are you saying that there's a phrase in that degree when the planet was first found? See, a lot of times that's what when you building, right? You gotta be clear. See, a lot of times, like if you speaking, right, at certain times, we could be speaking, or I could be speaking to somebody, right, and I know that we both have common knowledge on certain things. So I don't have to go all the way back to the beginning, right, and clarify everything step by step in the midst of this conversation. You know what I mean? But when you building, you gotta clarify that. Alfonso, hey, listen. Now, if y'all telling me that that's not a sign, are you saying that the seventh seal wasn't just broken right here on the Random Jews Network? Is that what you're saying? That listen, we Alfonso just stepped in the room. So what's the deal, Alfonso? What's the prophecy here? What's the date? What's the date that we expected touchdown? Tell us the exact date of expiration of the devil's civilization. He said the mother plane was built by the original man on the island of Japan, if I'm not mistaken. So nothing is from somewhere else. It's great material for my graphic novel that I'm making. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That is something that I caught there too. That they saying that it's alien, but that's another place where if they looking for alien technology without understanding that, nah, that's from right. Alfonso says no man knoweth that date. You gotta speak like a prophet, Alfonso. So what you saying is that Fard hasn't called you? Navy Maid said 1914. 1914. So you gotta don't be caught up with that. So let me tell you something about that, Navy Maid. Right? I'm gonna tell you why you gotta draw that up. Right? And here's why. Look, and this is a got you question, right, from outsiders, right? People trying to, people that think 120 lessons is our doctrine, right? Now, it says, tell us the exact date of the expiration of the devil's civilization, right? It said expired 1914. Right. So, what does that what does that mean? He said, do you remember when a bunch of people went to Jones Beach and was waiting for the sky to open up, and God was supposed to get them? It was on Channel 11 in the late '80s. I'm trying to recall. I don't I don't recall that one. Divine God Allah said, when you save self now. All right, that's peace. But I'm particularly looking for Neighbor May to answer that. Anyone else? When knowledge is born, knowledge will cultivate the mind to save yourself from yourself. 1914 is also when World War One started. All right. In 1914, cocaine was made illegal only to prescribe by a doctor. Only in 5%. Like if you knew here, listen, I'm a lot Christ. This is my nation. You've been warned. But look, you know, uh, getting back there to what I was trying to get to, right? Is what I'm glad everybody did, right? Is they realized everybody related it to now. You know what I'm saying? Even though this we're gonna leave that alone. the knowledge will cultivate the knowledge will cultivate the mind to save yourself from yourself. So I'm a see the good thing, right? As you said, when knowledge is born, right? Because you got to remember that that's not a prediction. When he says expired 1914, right? It's already 1934. So it's not a prediction that didn't come true. And then a couple of questions later, he says, "Do you hope to see the day?" Right? What will be your rewards? So I'm glad that neighbor made, because I'm glad you made it to the channel so we can clarify some things. You know what I'm saying? But that one right there, you know, we see eye to eye on that. So Jack Johnson knocked that white guy out in Europe the day before World War One started. You know, so this is look. I should just add that onto the title. See, this is the type of stuff, right? That if I would have known, if you like, if people was talking about stuff like that, I don't know if I would have came 5%. Like had I known about the 5%ers, right? Before, like I'm saying, I knew about them. I seen them around, but yeah, I had no idea that this what I was getting myself into. Mills Wave, where you from? We got a couple new people. We got a couple new people. Shamik Jason, Truckin' True. Where y'all brothers from? Shamik is in Now See. All right, this is Ghost Visuals. All right, you in Toronto. And what's the other brother? Nate. All right, Truckin' True is from the desert, resting in Now See. You know, it's always been a lot of brothers from Now See on this channel. Like from the very beginning, it always was a lot of people from Now. See, what's this other brother's name? Uh, Nate. Yeah, neighbor May. Where you from? build the guys in Born Kings class. Not a lot of 5%ers in Toronto. Yeah, you gotta do stuff. See, look, now, y'all new to the channel. I don't know if y'all know 120 or not, but don't be like the rest of these flunkies. See, we got people, look, this channel has been around for 6 years, right? Now, it took Elijah Muhammad 3.5 years to manifest 120 from scratch, right? Without having the questions and the answers already written down and given to him, right? He still manifested that in 3.5 years. So see, we got people who've been on this channel for 6 years, don't know 120. So don't be, if you don't know 120 yet, don't be like these people. You said, and keep in mind the grace period that we keep giving. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. See, don't get caught up in the grace period and the prediction of it. The time is now. See, that's what I'm saying. We gotta break these things down, right, with the science of our supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. So yeah, that's what the papers say. But see, we walk and talk this in a real environment, right? Now we have to get it exact because we got to walk and talk it. We're not just having faith in it. So it ain't no grace. We already know that if they allowed to live, they're gonna sting someone else, right? So we ain't time is now. All right, so Mills Way, 120. So that's positive. So my other account. Oh, this is Shamik J. So you know something? I ain't even see that. I didn't even see that. That's but yeah, peace of the God. You said a law rule, but I spent time in East Medina picking out. All right. Y'all know a little something about picking out. But what is a law rule? Arizona? All right. Robbie building the mind and the body, 25 push-ups. Oh, Arkansas. All right. Wow. That's that's one of those places that when I hear about places like that, like that's crazy. Like the knowledge is in Arkansas. Like when I first got the knowledge, right? I didn't even know it was original people in Arkansas. Like if somebody would have asked me, right, like yo, let's go to Arkansas and teach, I'd be like, teach you. what, what sense do that make? But that just goes to show you. So in the place where you at, right? In the place where you at, is it non-born yet? That's the question I always have whenever I hear about the knowledge in a place, like a place where, like I said, I never really even thought about the knowledge being in that atmosphere. Jigga 1017, you missed it. We just showed the mothership. We just showed the mothership. It's about to land. Supreme Man, what's the deal? What's the verdict? For those that don't know, Supreme Man is the Bill Belichick of Little League. He's the Pop Warner Bill Belichick. What's the injury report? He's the Bill Belichick crushing little kids' dreams. Little kids is coming to the game thinking they Patrick Mahomes until they run into the Bill Belichick of Pop Warner and his team over here. Seven Above All says, I recall hearing the so-called Muslim guy, Brother Jay Electronic, talking about the Battle of LA in one of his songs. If you haven't learned 120 in 6 years, you're just not applying yourself. That's what I'm saying. That's what it said. I just got 120 on cap this year. My righteous name is ICY, and I'm a coach at C. All right. Mills Wave. What you said your name is again? What did I do? Erase it? You talking about the now wide bubble? I don't know how the knowledge got in some of those places, man. See, that's how we telling people. See, look, we got it. The Hebrew Israelites is big on they big on social media right now. We got it. I don't know if they cool. A lot of people is not cool. They don't like that we have white 5%. Oh, ghost visuals. Yeah, you've been around a minute. Yeah, I never knew that. You see what I be saying? That y'all see me, but I don't see y'all. You said, how many other states have you traveled to? I mean, I've driven across America. I've driven from here to New Mexico before. See this? The Supreme Man. That's the team is 10-0. So they haven't been scored on yet. Saturday is the championship game. Shout out to the young brothers, man. I wish it was a way. I wish it was a way that you could learn your lesson and they can still win. But unfortunately, I have to wish all of y'all good fortune in in the upcoming game on Saturday. Tell the young brothers, man, I said handle business. So see, this is what I'm saying. See, if you look right here, Jigga 1017, you would see this Harvard professor right here, right? This Harvard professor that has pointed out the anomalies in this interstellar object, right? That provides evidence that this is the mothership, right? With baby planes running missions, right? As it proceeds to, come here. Look, I'm good. So, what I'm saying to y'all, right, is look, I got my seat, right? So look, it's 143,000, right? Uh 999 seats left. I don't know if I don't I don't know. I don't know if you sure. I don't know if you sure, but look, the cash app is pinned at the top. If you need me, if you need me to put in a good word with Elijah for you, otherwise you may not make it into the hereafter. So this is what I'm saying. Like, look, at some point, hey, look, why don't you put in the second string or something? This last game, the last game for Bill Belichick's team over here, they beat the other little kids 33-0. You see what I'm saying? Now look, see, I play sports. See, if you play sports, right? You know how when you get to the house and they ask you, "Hey, what happened in the game?" See, back in the days, right? It don't matter what sport it is. It don't matter what position you play. All the old people want to know is how many points you scored. Yeah, I'm on defense. Yeah, but how many points you scored? I ran track. How many points did you score? you see, you see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if y'all playing sports to where y'all understand what getting beat 33-0, the whole thing that entails. I don't know if I've ever been uh, 33-0. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to. I guess I would have to check the scorecard. You said Rasul Allah made knowledge born here in Allah rule. I'm not exactly familiar. Uh, which Rasul would that be? Because I don't. I'm not well versed with the history of Arizona, so I just don't know which brother that is. He said, "Do you think cats be forcing themselves to believe they saw baby planes anytime there's a light in the sky?" Nah, I think that some people, like you said, you seeing a light in the sky, right? And that's just the way some people's brain works. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime, you see something or you hear something that's out of place, you're curious about that. Like you know what I'm saying? Uh, you try to, and once you find, I guess the source of that or the explanation of that, then you satisfied. So, based on stuff that some people know, that's VC realm. Yeah, the mothership tickets. See, but this time it's not sale. See, this time I'm opening up the bidding. See, because being that it's the last days and times right now, right? Being that it's the last days and times, these tickets is really at a premium. So right now, right, it's first come, first serve, right? Highest bid, highest bid is the winning bid, right? 143,999 tickets left. So I got to come to New York maybe for the show and prove next summer. Yeah, that's a good time to come. You know what I'm saying? Where you meet people from all over the nation. The game, so the championship game is going to be on YouTube. Is it going to be live streamed on YouTube, or is it going to be? Uh, we're going to have to, because you know what? I'm gonna watch it because I don't watch the NFL no more. Like I had stopped watching it during the Colin Kaepernick time, and then like when I started watching again, I didn't really like it. Like when I started watching it, like after discontinuing looking at it, I just realized that this is not even the same game no more. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a defensive game that you gotta grind out yards on the ground. This is like you know it's too many players that can't be tackled, and I don't like the game without intimidation. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that that's not exactly politically correct, but those players like Mike Singletary that's going to clean your clock, where you're gonna not be able to fully focus on catching that ball when you going in his territory. You know what I'm saying? In the way now that the other team has to strategize because they know that that's a factor. But if you can't tackle nobody, then that kind of, you know what I'm saying? So just of course, like I said, that probably doesn't sound the greatest to people that's politically correct, but that's the way I like the game when I watched it. You know what I mean? But so I would actually enjoy watching that game because I haven't seen football in years. You said you saw something about a new mini moon that's supposed to follow the Earth for the next 50 years. Yeah, send me that link in 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 uh in Instagram. I want to check that. I haven't heard about that one. A new mini moon. So was there any word? Was there any word on on like what's the origin of this mini moon? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like when I look at stuff like this, right? It's almost like, man, you know, this is like, in terms of history, right? You know how in terms of history, right? Uh, you got world history, right? And so, a lifetime is like a blink of an eye to world history, right? But then you got, the history of the universe where the world history is like a blink of an eye. But that would be something like, man, you know what I'm saying? Look, in my lifetime, Pluto has been a planet and then not a planet. And then from, what I hear is back now, it's back to being a planet. You know, it went from having one moon to two moons because we got to investigate this. This could be the two percenters that Born Mastermind is talking about. See, that's what all of this could be coming together. See, this could be the other galaxy that Born Mastermind is talking about, right? 3i, and then this other moon that could be the other percenter. You can't get that stuff past me. King said it's been the last days and times for a very long time. You know, he said, did I book a ticket to the Ritz and bill with Zeno? See, I got a mansion up there. I'm already laced out. Shit, that's what I'm telling you. I'm good. That's why it's only 143,999 tickets left. You understand what I'm saying? See, I'm the holy baby and the angel baby. See, the place has already been prepared for me. The dude ran up on Jimmy Butler because he lost on betting. That's dangerous. Yeah, right now we still got some first class. We still got some first class tickets. You know what I mean? Some people is going to be riding cargo. Some people, it depends, depending on how the scales tip on their righteousness and unrighteousness. Since Seattle didn't give the ball to Marshawn in the Super Bowl, I haven't watched NFL since. Hey, listen, that look, but that moment is indicative of what I'm saying. That there's no question that in that play right there, Franco Harris would have got the ball. Tony Dorsett would have got the ball. You know, there was that situation where they didn't get the ball to Walter Payton, they gave it to Refrigerator Perry. But I'm just saying that we would have punched that right through. So yeah, that did just seem, you know, that was egregious. It seemed like some people is chosen to win. Fred Kelly said, "Where's the mothership? But did I miss it?" I mean, I don't know. It's how many new people do we have in the room right now? See, because what's happened, right, is if you can see this, I'm gonna enlarge this right here. We saw a video of this Harvard professor right here, right, coming on the News Nation channel, right, and uh, speaking on the anomalies, right, uh, of the interstellar object 3I, right, and he was speaking on the anomalies about this interstellar object, right, that point to, uh, you know, technological, it points to the object being the result of technology. So I don't know if we want to watch this, if we want to see this again. Now, DC Rum, you said you sent the link. Uh, I guess for whatever reason, it's not letting you send the link, right? So uh, try this, right? Uh, when you put the link, right, put a space before .com, like whatever's the site, and then it has .com. Let us say www dot whatever's the site, then put a space. Right there. So try it. We'll check it out. We'll check it out. If you sent it to the IG, we'll check it out. Probably on the next live. But yeah, that's the deal with that Fred Kelly. What's this? You said the drones seen in New Jersey are better examples of UAPs. What is a UAP? lost 155 bucks on the Seahawks Super Bowl, or recently? Because recently I wouldn't bet because there's so many scandals. Everything is fixed. You got baseball guys, college guys, football people, basketball coaches, agents, you know, assistants. You guys, so it's like, man, it's worse than a casino. What is a UAP? Why is it understanding? What is this about what you said right here? I don't even want to repeat that. Unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's AERIAL though. Just adding on with you. Oh, so that's the new name. That's the new name. See, look, that's something right there, right? See, because see what it is that a lot of people uh, that's a part of, by another name, they might be called a UFO community, right? Is of, you know, little questionable levels of sanity. You know what I'm saying? Reasonable people might question their level of sanity. So, I can see that this is one of those times where the propaganda of the name, right? So, unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? you know, at this point right now, sounds a little more scientific than unidentified flying object. But it's the same. That's you could just say UFOs. But you said that these were drones. So if they're drones, how are they unidentified? Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. See, the wheel, the wheel. Yeah, that. See, the mother plane. That is another good example right there of where see the name, the name alone, it changed it for me. Did you ever hear about the word for planet came by way of the acronym planet? Nah. What's the I don't know what the acronym stands for. Yeah, that's why they changed the name. See, like the what's the name that Trump changed the Department of Defense to? It's the Department of War. Now look, I've heard people complaining about that, right? But in fact, that's the original name. The original name was the Department of War, and they changed it to Department of Defense to make it sound more palatable. See, to me, I think it's better to leave it as the Department of War. So see, we not under no illusion about what's going on here. You know, when if you're gonna activate that, you gotta be serious about that. You know what I mean? All this bullshit about you going someplace to liberate some people and all that. Cut the bullshit. Yeah, see the Eagles, they need to pause. That's all I can tell you. I said this, that whoever came up with that name needs to be fired. So you said these drones was flying all over the military base in New Jersey and breaking all kinds of laws. Well, I would say this, one major difference and the reason why I may have seen that and don't recall it, or it may never have registered for me, is the difference between that is this three-eyed object, right? It's been, they've been observing it steadily since July. So I've been following the story, steadily for a period of time. Now it's like, you know, uh, other phenomenon is starting to occur, and it's getting closer and everything. So the stories are starting to pick up. So that's possibly why I didn't pick up on uh, these drones at the military base. If you said Space Galactic Military Force, Project Blue Beam. Nah, I didn't. I missed Project Blue Beam too. Which one is that? So you said they couldn't catch them nor follow them, and they don't know how they are fueled. Could be baby planes. So Mills Wave said Project Blue Beam is a psyop. He said they said they're gonna do false flag alien attacks on Earth to bring in the new world. Am I going to Savior's Day in Detroit in February at Huntington Place? Well, I don't know if you saw, uh, I would say, over the course of this summer, I would say I pretty much destroyed all chances to receive an invitation to Savior's Day. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been. I don't know how long you've been following this channel. But yeah, I don't think I'm invited to Savior's Day. But yeah, this false flag stuff. Yeah, this is which I do think. um, a lot of things is side ops. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really take it past the level of the news. You said, "What did I spend all my money or something?" No, but you know, we've manifested some things that you know, possibly they didn't want to hear that at Huntington Place there. United States Space Force is the official name Trump created as the sixth branch of the military. Yeah, it sounds like crap. It sounds like, to me that uh, it sounds like to me that Trump, uh, that he's taking a, a page out of their heroes book. All the present day Republicans, they look up to Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan had Star Wars. Star Wars was his kind of make believe thing that he put out there to kind of get at all of the rest of the world power ship. But it was fake. That it's just like the technology for that don't even exist. You know what I'm saying? Space Force. See Asia said Project Blue Beam alleges that the global elites are planning to stage fake supernatural events. See, let me tell you, man. You know, Jordan Maxwell. Uh, there's a couple of other cats out there. Graham Hancock, these kind of cats. What's the other guy from England? They be talking about the lizard people. Like these people have, they've distorted the world of cause and effect. So Fred Kelly here says, so basically, you need a job. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Is Fred Kelly? Are you the guy that used like a poor man's troll? I remember not too long ago, there was a guy that came in and he tried to troll, but he was just horrible at it. They see, look, Fred Kelly, you know what you do? Come to the next live stream. On the next live stream, I'm gonna put the screen vertical, so then you can see some professional trolls, and then maybe you might, because this is embarrassing. I don't know if you have children. I don't know if you have children and they have to see you in this kind of condition. Yeah, David Icke, that's the guy. Eric Von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods. Yep, he's a look. All of these various people like this, man, have, they've tapped into whatever the religious desire in people. I'm not saying that true religious. I'm not saying that true religious ghost visuals, but saying that a lot of this stuff about these conspiracies with the elite, they fall into that same category of unfalsifiable. Fred Kelly says, I don't think that much about lives to be embarrassed by them. Why would I be? I mean, see, that's the scary part. That's the scary part, that you're not embarrassed. They, just what is the various phenomenon, what could possibly be the characteristic in you, right, where you wouldn't be embarrassed by the things that you say on here. That's what's scary about it, is that you're out there in the world. That you're out here in the world, like at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when kids is going to school and coming home, right? Every parent has to know that you're out there. That's what's scary. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying though, is that a lot of this stuff is like kind of unfalsifiable, and I'm definitely not saying that to say that there's no cooperation, right, between people that you see constantly traveling in the same circles. How many times you see, was a conference and Bill Gates was there and Warren Buffett was there and Jeff Bezos was there and Zuckerberg, et cetera, right? How many times do you see uh, there's some kind of congressional hearing, right, into some wrongdoing or whatever on the part of the social media companies, and you see all of them sitting at the table together. On every level, cooperation and collaboration is that's a part of the condition of people, right? Whether people is coming together to build or whether they're coming together to destroy, people come together. You know what I'm saying? But you know, just some of the stuff, it's like, and then especially, it's because if you say everything is a conspiracy, right, then you're gonna be right a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Like if I say every day that it's gonna rain, right? You know, I'm gonna be right, more than a couple of times. But it's been various, this is the plan for 2000. You know, everybody's gonna get put in FEMA camps in 2000. You know, they building these camps over here to uh, you know, imprison people over this point or that. You know what I'm saying? It's like to a certain degree, we still got to treat that with the same uh, scientific lens. So that's why a lot of times, you know, for me, uh, you know, I wouldn't say that I don't, like I said, it's not that I think there are no conspiracy theories, right? Uh, but that's not high up on the checklist. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know, not that it wasn't a conspiracy, but that it's these secret elite people. Because see, here's one of the things, right? The secret elite people, they can't fight. Warren Buffett cannot, you know, false flag nothing. The 10% is nothing without the slaves. You see, you talking about here in America, the 10%, the 1%, most of them was peasants back in Europe. In Europe, you had the royal people, right? In the court, the noble people, the landowning gentry, and you had the church. Then after a while, yeah, you get the merchants and mercantilism, but the vast majority of the people in Europe was peasants. The 10% is nothing without the slaves. So you know all of that kind of you know I got to see all of that and how it comes together. Like you know, I don't like gaps. I don't like gaps in the science. You see what I mean? Because then once we start filling in those gaps, then it's our imagination. You see what I mean? You know, whatever you know, whatever we make up, we can put it right there. So Fred Kelly says, brother, you follow Clarence 13X. 5% are people who flunk out of the nation. I don't care about your opinion. I mean, I've never been in the nation. You know, if you're talking about the Nation of Islam, you know, I've never been in the Nation of Islam, you know, and, you know, I don't follow anyone, right? You know, I don't know if that's a big pipeline right there. Like there's absolutely people that was in the Nation of Islam that came 5%, right? But I don't think that's a big pipeline. Like you get you know suspended or whatever the case. You know you get kicked out of the temple and then you come to the 5%. I haven't met a lot of people you know with that description. But yeah, this is you know it's the level. Said the movie They Live with Roddy Piper having the glasses that he could see the hidden truth behind the programs, aliens disguised as people or some Illuminati elites that took over the world. Yeah, I recall that movie. I thought that yo, look, that I like that movie. third half. Welcome to the channel. So look, third half, are you somebody that just has a new name now? Otherwise, you know, that's I gotta ask you, how'd you come up with that? Third half. I'm just saying, because in my thinking, right, there's only two halves. That's what half means, split in two, right? So third half, that's a that's an interesting one. It says, so if you don't follow anyone, then you must not be a part of anything. I thought you was in the 5%. Well, why do I have to follow someone to be a part of something? I don't see the logic right there. You see, in the 5%, right, we have principles, right? And so you don't have to follow anyone, right? But we adhere, right? We embody and manifest those principles. That's how you be a 5%. You don't do that by following people. See, because if I follow him, right, then I wouldn't be on the internet, because he never got on the internet, right? I wouldn't be talking to clowns like you, because he didn't entertain clowns. You see what I'm saying? You see why? You see why that's not applicable? See, me and the law, we the same but different. You said you trying to say I'm slow. Do you know what you believe? All right, now those are two vastly different questions, right? You know, I mean, what, you know, I'm not trying to say you slow. Like you're saying that as if my words is gonna make you slow. To that, all I can say is, look, don't get mad at the messenger, right? And then you ask this question here: do you know what you believe? Yes, nothing. I don't believe. You know, I'm saying, see, this is the difference between me and you. See, like I said, the 5% have principles. See, you freestyling. You just coming up. I told you what you should do is just be quiet for now. Wait till the next live stream so you can get exposed to some official trolling. Not this low level. I don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? You see, you're not even black. That's what I'm starting to suspect, because you don't know how to play the deserts. See, just regular in elementary school, you're supposed to be better than this. What kind of black man don't know how to tell, don't know how to snap? See, I rebuke thee and revoke all your cards. Oh, third half is a DJ name. All right. You said the 5% follow Clarence 13X when the movement tried to make a comeback. They couldn't agree on leadership. So I understand you not being a follower. He said the movement tried to make a comeback. Nah, son, we never left. What you talking about? Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. What is he talking about? Tried to make a comeback. What? Yes. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Listen, man, we got track records, man. We document that. This always, you say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? But look, we got a file that can be pulled. Hey, look, those visuals, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, he said he had the knowledge for a couple of days or something. We are not believers, Fred Kelly. We are scientific. It's challenging for somebody who is follower minded to understand that. He said after Clarence 13X assassination, the movement died until 1982 when Minister Farrakhan stood up. What is this? What is this? Hey, look, you know what I need right now? You know what I need right now? Well, I wish, look, I got to get that. You know what I need right now? I need that video. You know that video with Soldier Boy? Where he said, boy, if you don't shut your dumb ass up, boy, you think you. Yeah. Yeah. Boy, you don't shut your. Yeah. The movement died until 1982. Yeah, see, I'm gonna tell you what it is. You got all this mixed up. See, that's what happened in 1975 after Elijah Muhammad returned to the essence. The NOI died until 1984 or 85, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, that's when they had the Madison Square Garden thing. So I don't know when he started doing what he was doing, but that's who you talking about. You're not talking about the 5%, because in the '70s we was getting it in, son. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. The only thing similar to that is that there was a party after Allah's assassination where, the brothers came together and was like, you know, yeah, we know what Allah taught us and what we're supposed to do. Let's get to our business. That happened, but it wasn't. It didn't take till 1982. What is this guy talking about? Yeah, that's, and then that, I mean, those two things can't go together. Those two things can't go together. Like we can't be, you can't be, you can't even see what you said, right? Let's just go with your terminology. You can't be a follower of Allah and a follower of Farrakhan, right? That's your terminology. But I'm just telling you that now. See, why would we do that? That's moving sideways. Why would we be following that? I don't even get. You said actually it was later than that. It was some of the former followers who tried to bring it back. Y'all got no minds, no leadership, no organization, nothing but some rappers who claim 5%. Like Common, yeah, you got it all. Common is not 5%. You said it was later than that. So how late was it? If it was later than that, right? How late was it? Because see, look, and even if you say rappers, right? Then let's talk about the world famous Supreme Team. So those were 5% on the radio, right? Before this time you're talking about right here. What about the almighty KG? The almighty KG from Cold Crush, who was a 5%er, right? During this time that you're talking about. We had apparently it was no which according to you 5%, right? So you say y'all got no mosque, no leadership, no organization. That's what we've been trying to tell you people. This is what you this is not insult. We're glad somebody finally got the fucking message here. Can you listen? Run and go tell everybody that on the mountaintop that we're not an organization, we don't have a leader, and no, we're not going in the mines. Thank you, Fred Kelly. I feel now that this live stream has been worth it because we've gotten through. See, this is just look. That's if I just help one person. If I could just help one person, then it's all been worth it. Thanks, Obama. The R&B group GQ stood for Gods and Queens. I ain't never hear about Common. I ain't never hear about Common being 5%. said world famous Supreme flip flop. They was always at Moss, Miriam, and Farrakhan rallies. Tom Brown. I don't even know who Tom Brown is. Trademark of the flag. Nah, that's old. That's old news. That's done. You know what I'm saying? The uh, the brothers already addressed that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, you always got to be vigilant. You know what I'm saying? You know, if it happened once, it can happen again. But uh, there's nothing. There's nothing new. Oh, I ain't even know who made that. Who made that? Nah, I never heard that though. I don't know who in that who in that group would be down with that. Jigga 1017 said there was no Mas Mariam during the height of world famous Supreme Team. Farrakhan was teaching out of the Finley Call building. You see that? you see why? You see why? You see why you don't just say bullshit around the 5%? you see? You see? Hey, look. Once again, I'm gonna tell everybody, if, just in case if you new here, my name's Allah Christ. This is my nation. You've been warned. Yeah, he did. Now I don't know about Inf Mega stuff. I don't know if Inf Mega. The last time I checked, right, Inf Mega didn't get his paperwork yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. You know what I'm saying? But the last time I checked, uh, he didn't he didn't follow through on making that right. Not the Finley Call building, the final call building. I think Fred Kelly's had enough for today. I think he's had enough. I think he's had enough in going his way. Uh, I mean, you know, and Medina asked the question, you know, how that happened. I mean, at the end of the day, uh, a lot of people just don't know how to deal with equality. If you ask me, you know what I'm saying. And one of the reasons that it's hard for them to deal with equality is because of how much better than us they think that they are. You know what I'm saying? It's some people that think that they're so smart, right? That uh, you know, we couldn't possibly reach their level, right? In order for us to understand the complexities of what they have to manifest. That by the time they was able to get across, right? They was able to get into heads as dense as ours, right? That the opportunity to execute, right, would have already passed. And so they feel like they have to act, they have to act, they gotta be the one person. We need a Musa to deliver us, right? And oddly enough, the individual who comes up with this idea always just happens to be that person. Like if you notice, the person don't never say, "Look, this thing right here needs to be done." Right? Look, I nominate Arabi. This person don't ever say that. It's always, it's always, it's always, uh, you know, I'm that guy. Like this whole 60 years, right? From this whole 60 years, everything has been waiting on me. You know what I'm saying? These are people that, in my mind, see, they don't, they're not, their point of view is not that the black man is God. Their point of view is that they're God and they're a black man. And then there's the rest of us. So, they're always, making these moves, trying to drag the nation kicking and screaming into whatever is their promised land that they've designated for us. No, technically it belongs to us. You say you follow no one. Well, that explains why the 5% is doing nothing for black people. You're not even organized. Come on, man. Try again, Fred Kelly. So, Fred, we have uh, Mos Mariam was started in 1988. Everything before then was the Final Core Administration Building. While the world famous Supreme Team traveled from New York to Chicago. Woo. Fred, I think you better go get a jacket. you better go get a jacket, Fred. Did you just hear that? That's the sound of Fred hitting the pool of alcohol after sliding down the razor blade solid door. That was that was the sound. Like that was the sound of the lion's den when Fred walked through with 20 pounds of raw steak strapped to him. But you'll be all right, Fred. Fred, where you live at, Fred? Let me see if I can help you. Where you from, Fred? The Yakub Club? That guy. He's pretty nutty. Fred, where you from, Fred? But there's really no Yakub Club. There's just, there's just a lot of people that need to take their medicine. Fred Kelly, where you from? But yeah, I mean, I got so many lives that I can't even tell you. There's no way for me to tell you which one that is. Hold on, somebody just sent me a message here, right, on on YouTube. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make an attempt to put the link for this video and uh, respond to that message, and then they can ask a question over here. Who's Eugene Walcott? Yeah, nah, Fred. Hey, look, Julie TV. Don't tell him. Don't say that. Who? Fred Kelly. Nah, man, stop it. Fred Kelly can't get on the mothership. I can't look. Even look. It doesn't. I can't even. I couldn't even talk. Oh, that's what his name is. Oh, you know something? I did know his name was Walcott. I just it's been so long since I heard him referred to that I didn't recognize him. Trying to get over here. Fred ain't from Pelon. I can tell you that. He's not from Pelon, sir. So this is Blayling G, and he asked a question here. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but according to the lessons, wouldn't the Muslim God be the 10% because they know who the true and living God is, yet they teach the 85% about the mystery God? Well, y'all are ruthless, man. Y'all are ruthless. man. But hold on, let me put the link. Let me put the link and see if he wants to roll over here. Trying to. Why is this not working? Who knows what's going on with that? We'll get back to it later. Yeah, we definitely is. It is getting to the point, right? Where you know, see a lot of these forums, right? You know, what I've seen is that uh, you know, a lot of other groups, right? A lot of other nations, they're uh, you know, kind of getting a message out there. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the internet and social media, you know what I'm saying, and all of that, right? And you know, us in general, you know, we haven't, you know, like even with our channels that we do have, we just kind of deal with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we speak our piece, whatever it is. We don't, um, you know, go out to debate and you know, argue with various people or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it does appear that in our absence, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say in our absence because, you know, when we was in that phase of existence, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember we're maturing, we're maturing individually and as a collective. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so you know, I'm saying that when we was younger, as a nation and as individuals, yeah, we was more, you know, out there, you know, building with the ASRs and the you know all the different people who was out there. NOI, the Hebrew Israelites was, you know, they really, you know, first of all, they most of them was older. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a thing. It wasn't uh, you know, they wasn't on the level like this where they was out. It was any type of real outreach to the youth. You know what I'm saying? You know, other groups, like when you saw, let's say the Ansars, you know what I'm saying? It was other young people involved with that. You know what I'm saying? But say like the Moorish Science Temple at that time, you know what I'm saying? That's another thing where the people that was dealing with that was older, so they just wasn't in the same circles that we was in. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, right, when we was in those circles, and that's what it was. You know, uh, these people was, the understanding, right, that you cannot, let's put it in layman's terms, right? You're not going to out talk the 5%. You know what I'm saying? See, now, people get on, like, see, Fred Kelly, he comes on here, and I guess he thinks he can say whatever. See, you can't get past the precision of supreme mathematics. You can't really, nothing is gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? People who, you basing things on knowledge and wisdom and not belief. See, this person can have more information, right? But because this person knows how to think, because this person knows how to draw things up, see, in the instant that they hear something, they can have a greater understanding than this person right here, and manifest a greater understanding for the world to be able to see who's who. Yeah, yeah, all that debate, and who knows. But the part that I was saying earlier, just in terms of, these are the people that's that's in our circumference. I'm not saying that they're a part of what we do, right? But it's 24,896 miles in circumference on the planet, right? You know, it's not another like 10 miles over there where he's over there and we over here on this 24,896, right? You know, the same 196,940,000 that we on, right, is the same 196,940,000 square miles that he's on. And see, this is a part of our work. This is a part of our work, right? Uh, is to break through some of this silliness. But see, the thing with these people, right, like Fred Kelly, or even, I wanted to say that to the brother who uh, said he was from Arkansas, right? Is that in this day and time, right? It's past the talking. What I mean by saying it's past the talking, right, is that uh, it's not an odd thing in any circle, right, for people to hear that the black man is God. You know what I'm saying? Supreme mathematics, you know, is is common knowledge now. Like I hear people saying, like, when they get into, like, you know, let's have a serious discussion, you know what I mean? I hear people saying, let me build with you now. You know what I mean? So now wisdom is wise words and wise ways and actions. So everybody's already heard the wise words. We've already completed that cipher. So now we have to complete the cipher of action, right? People have to be able to say now, well, okay, that's the other part of your science that you're saying, right? Meaning that, you know, let's say the same person, they go to church, and the people at the church is saying, okay, look, this is what we want to teach you, right? This is what we want to teach you, and then after this, you set up home and wait, and the rest is supposed to happen automatically. But we telling people that no, you take this knowledge and then you activate it. So see, be you can't be teaching people about something they can't see neither. You talking about you got all this power, right? And you can't manifest it. You know, or you don't manifest it, or you won't manifest it, or whatever the story is with it, right? That people got to be able to see. Said Max B was saying now cipher in a recent post prison. Listen, man, the magnetic is known, right? But now, like I said, you know, each individual and us collectively have to demonstrate what the power of the magnetic is. See, because you know that's a part of the clear picture, right? Of people, you know, of a person getting understanding of of what you're saying, right? Like I'm saying, like if it's people, right, that you experiencing, right? You hearing what they say, but then you seeing what they do. Like if a person is saying, right? If a person is saying, let's say the person is a drug counselor, right? But then you see them smoking crack. So you can't pick one or the other, right? You can't pick one or the other. You can't just say because look, they can sincerely want to stop. You know, they sincerely trying to help other people stop, but they still just have that weakness. But I'm saying, you know, when you drawing the person up, you know what I mean, for yourself to say, okay, look, this is how I'm gonna relate with this person. You know, not to say you judging them as a good or a bad person or above or below you, right? But to say that, you know, look, it's some people, you know, if I judge that, you know, this is the condition and this is the things that's going to be surrounding you in your sight because of the things you're doing, right? Then I got to make a judgment that, look, you know, when I see you, you know, shout out or whatever, but I got to keep it pushing, you know. the moral of the story, getting back to that part, is just that people is hearing what you say and they seeing what you do. You see what I'm saying? And like Fred Kelly said, through, especially through culture, music, movies, whatever it may be, our language, what I'm saying, some of our history, you know, everything from, look, somebody brought up LL Cool J, you know what I'm saying, the B-boy stance, you know what I'm saying, that, our actions, the things that we say, everything, all of this has had an impact on the society of the world. Yeah, Jigga 1017, I don't know why, but for some reason, I was just thinking about him the other day too. But look, he's a good example of a person, right? Look, now he was saying there was a minute that he's coming around because before his name was like Universal or something like that. I can't recall, but I think his name was like Universal or something like that, right? And he still was coming to the rally. I remember people saying like, "Yo, man, he'd be around the corner talking crazy," but at the time, man, he's going around it. And then eventually, he comes to the rally one day talking about, uh, we got it wrong and the woman is God and all this stuff. And then we didn't see him no more over there. He started being on 125th Street all the time. Then from there, he went out to what's that? Washington, Seattle, somewhere out there, and you see what happened to him. He said Charlie Wingate is a self-admitted Christian. Let's not associate him with the gods. Now, see, like I said though, with him in particular though, Jigga 1017, my he was an opportunist. You know what I'm saying? And uh, he tried to execute on an opportunity that backfired. You know what I'm saying? In a tremendous way. But we got any last questions? I think it's about that time. I think it's about that time. Uh, for us to get down to the nitty gritty, man. We got any questions? Of course, once again, the Cash App is pinned to the top. If you are not sure that you've been righteous enough to board the mothership, so, right now we have 143,999 tickets left. and the bidding process is open. Highest bidder wins. Now I see Jigga 1017. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that could get you a ticket. There's no way. See, that's we got to go back to the beginning. Now, so I see Jigga 1017. I got to take you back to the beginning. See, the only way to the head after is through Christ. You see, this is not. Look, this is God's plan. You said the Fox Sports analyst on First Things First saying peace to the guys due to Sham God's influence on him. Who's that? Who said that? Said I chose the name ICY for myself. Do you think that's a righteous name? I mean, it's well, what does it mean? You know, it's definitely, it's using our language, so it's a righteous name. You know, now I don't know if like you rhyme or something, right? And your name is Icy. That's what's that's what's you know causing some hesitation for me. I don't like those. You know what I'm saying? When a person uh to me that's just being slick. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, especially when you know, see because here's the thing, right? It's like when a person choose a name, right, where it's like you don't gotta make a change really. You know what I'm saying? Like you can like let's say people be calling you Icy, right? And then you change your name to ICY, so you don't really gotta tell these 85% that nah, my name is Darkim be alive now. You know what I'm saying? Like see you don't have to explain that, and so see even for you is you giving yourself an out. You understand what I'm saying? Where you not you half-assing one change that you're making right there. So it makes me wonder: is you half-assing if you is other things? Is you half-assing not eating pig? You know what I'm saying? said my name was never known as Icy. I mean, look, it's just a question. I just have to ask you. You said this is Brandon Figures from Chicago El Rukin tribe. All right, shout out to the El Rukins. Hmm. You said from 105th Street Avenue. But yeah, so now getting back to ICY, right? So, uh, I know what I means, right? I know what C means, and I know what Y means, right? Uh, but what does that mean together? Why'd you put those together? Like how do you manifest ICY? You said one with an understanding of God. Okay. Uh, okay, I think you need a little work here, right? I think because in this instance, uh, you're you're uh, you're equating Y to God. How you draw how you see that? So you said it born is understanding God. All right, that's peace. What's going on with Brandon Figures today, man? So you're saying the Y chromosome equals the man, right? But the Y chromosome is 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 the Y for men that's not God too though. See, that's a common, you know, slang term that you hear people use, right? Y equals self, right? But Y is 25 and self is 19. See, when you using Supreme Alphabet, right? What you saying has to make sense in Supreme Alphabet. Like if what you saying only makes sense in English, right? Then you're not using our language. You see, when you say "I see why," right? You know, why is the cause? You would say, you know, that's what the 5% teach people, right? Is who is causing all this to happen, right? So when you say "I see why," you know, that's something that yeah, I see why. When we talk about all these things that's going on around us, I see why. Because I draw things up. I'm talking about just in the sentence. If I'm using the sentence for myself, I'm saying, yeah, I see why. See, like Fred Kelly, yeah, I see why. Ghost visuals, I see why. You see what I mean? Whatever it is, yeah, I see why. She's supposed to make sense like that. You see what I mean? But if you gotta translate it back into English, right, for it to mean what you're saying, then you use in English. You see what I'm saying? You see how you see that's like when they be reading the Bible and they talk about the various, the Greek and the Hebrew and the Latin and the English and all these different things and how it can the understanding it get distorted. But at the end of the day, right, you're the person that's got to walk around with that name. There's a couple of things that listen, I ain't tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look, however, you're a woman, that's got to be your wisdom. It's not my wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you nothing. You see what I'm saying? In your name, you the one who's got to walk around with that. Look, you got to live it out. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, you know, if your name is divine, right? Your clothes always got to be clean, son. I mean, I know that might sound petty, but listen, gee, your clothes can't be dirty, and your name is divine. See, when you see people named Supreme, they be loud. Not loud and obnoxious loud, but they energy is strong. Your name can't be Justice, and you be lying all the time. That counts too. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you just I see quality. Yeah, but bro, you can't be lying and your name is Justice. So that's why, people, whatever their name is, people come at, they have all types of names that I wouldn't name myself, but then, I would just ask yeah, what does that mean? You said, I'm in Canada, I'm a coach at sea, that was my name, I drew up. Yeah, none of that matters. We using the same rules, right, that came from the same Allah. See, that's other places, they might got a particular uh, other section over here for you because you white. Nah, you with us. See what I mean? See, let somebody go around Azrael thinking that he ain't got this knowledge and wisdom and understanding. See, when he went out and taught the truth, he went out and taught the same truth we taught. Azrael, his niece be coming by. But other members in his family, I didn't know that until recently myself. That he brought his brother around. It's not a separate supreme mathematics. It's not a separate lessons. You know what I'm saying? Look, we all got to deal with growth and development. That's the only thing here that I see impacting we talking, right? Is that you're new to the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and knowing how to use the language and draw things out. You understand what I'm saying? But it don't got nothing to do with you being from Toronto. You understand what I mean? Because see, you said there's a few brothers up there, but I know of that few, there's some true and living. You know what I'm saying? But look, we all have to. That's what we got to do. We got to learn. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's not that uh, the name is wrong, but take all those things into account. You see what I mean? So look, this is one of the things right here. See, if your name is ICY, yeah, you got to be digging down. See, you got to till the land for the true understanding, because your name is ICY. See, we can't come up and ask you what's going on over here. I see. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell. You understand what I'm saying? So, so listen. I would tell you another thing about ICY, right? You know, sometimes that means you have to ask the question why, which is what you did. Which is what you did. You see what I mean? So see, you showed and proved ICY right there. See, that's one of the first things you need to know why. Is why that's your name. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know why about yourself, you don't even see why about all this other stuff out here. You see what I'm saying? See, look, this is just the world we live in. Where it's a history, it's a history between white people and black people. Right? So, yes, you might encounter some people but don't understand that, see, it's not no separation between the black seed and the brown seed. You know what I'm saying? Once you draw up and install these separations, that's how you start making devil. You see what I'm saying? Because that's Yakub's law, right? Is to separate all the seeds and make devil. You see what I'm saying? Allah's law is to unite all the seeds. You know what I'm saying? And we got to be united. You can't be the weak link. You can't be a pet. You can't be a mascot. You got to activate on the duty in the job what Allah left us with. Okay, right. All right. Now look, that's a good rule, right? They told you don't use Allah in it, right? Look, they tell you we don't have Muslim names. You know, yeah, there's some things that you don't get that the first day, you know, as you come in tune with people. You know what I'm saying? But see, look, that's another reason why don't pick, you know, you got people with, you know, the guy, scientific had like 50 names at one time. Like that's just some other advice, right, that I would give anybody is look, pick something you can live out. Like, see, that was one of the reasons why I got the name Darkim, right? Is because, uh, you know, I could already tell, you know, not even having the knowledge yet, that it's some names like scientific and justice and supreme and divine and, you know, all of these names is already, it comes with, you know, everybody knows what justice is. You know what I'm saying? There's all these other people that's been examples of justice. And even I know that just coming into the knowledge. Right? So I picked a name, right? Or I came up with my name, right? Uh, because it was like, okay, I could be, you know, so this is, I'll be the first this right here. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was actually a couple other people before me that had the name. You know what I'm saying? But uh, you know, I didn't know them, you know, at the time. You know what I'm saying? So uh, you know, I had, you know, kind of a natural understanding of that. You know what I mean? That if you're going to pick a name, pick something you can live out. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not that good, like academically, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't do a lot of reading, you know a lot of studying. Don't pick the name scientific. But you know what? Look, take your time. You know, when I was getting it, they should say that. You know, a good name is better than gold. You know, which that has, you know, another meaning too in terms of the things that you do in your name, right? So when your name comes up, right, do people think, oh, he's a piece of shit? Or yo, that's my people right there. See, a good name right? Where you can, walk into places and people have love for you because of the things that you've done in your name, that's better than gold. So pick a name, right, that you're going to be able to live up to and do the things, right, that's going to make that name be better than gold for you. You know what I'm saying? Take your time. See, because then, see, if you keep changing it, the Lord said, yeah, see, that's because you're picking stuff you can't live out. Jigga 1017. um, said what would be a good name? Yeah, I mean, I ain't never, uh, I wouldn't pick a name according to that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you say what's a good name for a culture seed, I wouldn't pick a name according to that. I would stick with, like I said, something that you're gonna live out. See, because this is what you gotta remember, man. See, we not pro black or anti white. We pro righteous and anti devilish, and that's decisions that people make second to second. You see what I mean? Second to second. Are you gonna help this old lady right here? She might just, whatever it might be. She might got a package she wanna take from here to there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, it is, you're gonna add on, or, if look, the old lady dropped $1 and you just pick it up and put it in your pocket. Those are decisions that you can't just make in the morning. Yeah, I'm gonna be righteous today, and then everything you do is, like picking up the old lady money when she dropped it right there, right? And it don't matter if you black or you white when it comes to making that decision. At least I'm not sleeping on you. You thinking that I'm thinking. if, if you think that I think that you think that I think that you righteous just because you black, or you unrighteous just because you white, then yeah, you don't know what you're thinking. Your thinking is wrong. See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta get down to the nitty gritty of these teachings. See, that's what that means when it says that we pro righteous anti devilish. See what I'm saying? That's what it means when Allah said, look, we don't talk about people, we talk about what they do. That includes if you black or you white. said, "La Real told me once that I should be able to go to your community and they know you as your righteous name, not your honorable." Right. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like when a person picks a name, right, where, you know, uh, the people, they it's like, okay, I come in your neighborhood, right? I come in your neighborhood and they calling you this name, and I'm thinking that, it's it's slang for your name. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody called me D, or somebody say your dog or something like that, which I generally tell people my name is Darkim. But you know, it's that's what I'm thinking, right? Is that the person, like, look, your name is Justin, right? So you pick the name Just, right? You pick the name Black Just. So now when I come in your block, right, everybody call me Yo Just, but they mean Justin. You haven't really told these people. you you haven't really told these people that you got. But I mean, after a certain period of time, I mean, to tell the truth, I don't even know, like after a certain period of time, right? After you have the knowledge for a certain period of time, you know, where's all these people? How did all these people find out your honorable name? Because see, it's 5% that you could go to their job and ask for their honorable name, and the people at their job would be like, "Yeah, nah, that person don't work here." And then when you start describing them, they'll say, "Oh, you talking about, yeah? Why you ain't say Darkim? Yeah, he right over there." Yeah, we didn't even know who that other person. We don't interact with a person with that name. So you know what I'm saying? How you, like, when you meeting people? That's what I'm saying. In order, you know how long ago a person had to go back to not know my righteous name. Either that, or I have to know you from someplace where they signing some kind of checks for me or something. Other than that, I really don't know where else I'm gonna use my honorable name. Like, I'm not, even look, when I was in school, they called me by my righteous name. Like, if you would have went in the principal's office and asked them, "Is there somebody named Darkim that go to school?" He would say, "Yeah." So I really don't, that's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, if you've had the knowledge for longer, I mean, maybe like 5 years, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's still calling you by your honorable name. We talking about, your sandbox dudes or whatever, you know what I mean? People that go way back with you. We talking about your family, right? We talking about, just in your general travels, people call you by your honorable name. Because for most people, I'm saying, when you meet somebody, you tell them your name. So is it that you haven't, you know, how everything, you got to grow into things. So are you still just at the stage where it's like it still ain't registered to you that's your name. Like you're still telling people, like, look, you know how for like the first couple of weeks after your born day pass, right? You still be saying the last age because you had 365 days of having that in your mind, right? And without having the new age in your mind, you still saying the old age. So that's one question: is if you still walking around telling people your your government name, right? Your honorable name. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about even from a matter of listen. You know, like look, remember a minute ago I said a good name is better than gold, right? And I said that look, one of the things that means is the things that you do in that name, right? You know, when you walk on water, right? And the people speak about you, right? The knowledge of you goes out there from people speaking about you. Are they speaking about you as a righteous person or an unrighteous person? So now that's what I'm saying. That my honorable name, right? Those works cut off when I got the knowledge. Like, yeah, you could explain that, yeah, that honorable name, yeah, that's Darkim be Allah. But what I'm saying is that Darkim be Allah is the name that's better than gold. That's the name, right? That my works in the 5% is in. That's the name. You see what I'm saying? So that what I'm saying is that the things, at least in my mind, right? This is what I'm saying. My personal opinion of myself, right? No, that's the name. I want people to know that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? Not in terms of, to be bragging about nothing, but just to say, look, in terms of respect, right? Look, this is me right here. You see what I'm saying? Other people's names, like you call me somebody else's name, like nah, hold on. I'm not that. I'm not that person. You know, are you the guy that wrecked the buffet at the dinner party? No, that's not me. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna, when I like, it is places that I go where it's like, see, I just need to be here for a second. So I might go someplace like that. They might ask me my name. I tell them my name is D. But I'm saying, dog, look, that's the name. That's the name that can save my life. Like if people say, yo, man, something, we don't like that person right there. See who's that person? See if they give my honorable name, people say, I don't know who that is. You see if they give my name, they say, oh no, that's the guy, man. What happened? Nah, son, no, hold up, man. Let's straighten this out, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy, man. That's what I'm saying. Then why would I, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go around and say no other name than my name. I guess if your name is not good, I guess that's a good. But for me, I'm good with my name. Born, what's the science? He said, I got many aliases in the streets in all my walks of life because I just drew up my righteous name. I mean, you know, that's it's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Except, you gotta be aware, right, of, you know, like you said, you got many aliases, right? See, you don't want to get a negative alias. You know, I've seen people where, whatever you put in your name, right? But it's like we're now, like, if you got certain names, right? You know, like you got people who name is, you know, Killer, right? Killer, either whichever way, right? So now, you're gonna live that out. See, like for instance, I give you a good example, right? Remember when it was it was Nasty Nas, and then it was Nas Escobar. See, those is you seen different character. You see what I mean? The person was living out. Now you're living out all this drug stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now he's just Nas. You see that, boy, he's not dealing with none of that stuff no more. He's coming more now. Nasir Jones. You know, so sometimes you don't want to get caught up in something where it's like you gotta you gotta live up to that. You gotta live up to a name, and the way you gotta live up to it uh, can put your life and your freedom at risk. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, look, take your time. You doing it the right way. See, because you already got to be who you are. See, if you can't be righteous without the name, you ain't gonna be righteous with the name. You see what I'm saying? If you're not gonna be about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and love, peace, and happiness without the name, you're not gonna be about that with the name. So take your time. You said your immediate family needs to acknowledge you as your righteous name first. For me, uh, just generally speaking, right? In general, I had a few breakthroughs, but I was not very successful with teaching my family. I was very successful with teaching my friends, but maybe because I was the youngest, uh, I can't really call it. What was the phenomenon, but maybe if I had been around my little sister a little bit more, I probably would have influenced her. But in generally speaking, uh, they definitely acknowledge, what I'm saying, that I was 5%. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of them, uh, like very recently, my one uncle, a few times, he slipped up and called me Darkim. Couple times, you know what I'm saying? But, that's the way the cookie crumbled for me. He said, how do you see those who come into the culture or are in the culture who have Muslim attributes as part of their name? Jamal, Jamil, Kareem, Ramel. I didn't know Ramel was in attributes. But now from the way I heard it, right? If people had names that was in that the 99 attributes, they was able to keep those. Um, but that wasn't one of the, I heard we don't have Muslim names, but you do have like Bishmi. Um, I don't think, unless the person came from uh, being a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, see, like just now, I just said I didn't even know that Ramel was, uh, one of the 99 attributes. You know what I'm saying? For most of us, coming out of Christianity 12, 13, 14, 15, we don't know that those names is attributes like that. You see what I'm saying? So, again, like I said, if it was something that I could see you, I could see you trying to hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to you resisting the change. You understand what I'm saying? Like you half-assed it. Like if I look at it and it's like, yo, you half-assing trying to make this change. You trying to serve two masters. Then you know, uh, and even the name itself is not going to, like this that well that, I wasn't sure, but now that you got that name, that's but I might look at it as one of the signs. You know what I'm saying? That you're resisting the change. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes depend on if you live it all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Like if your name is Victor, right? And let's say you choose the name Victory. You know what I mean? But the way you draw it up is like, yeah, because this was always me. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the knowledge in order to take that potential. My parents already gave me the potential energy, and I put it into kinetic when I got the knowledge of myself and achieved the victory. But they already knew I was going to be the victor. But if you just doing it so people can call you Vic, right? Without you, you can go and still eat the ham sandwich around them. Because they don't know that you made a change. That's what I think is just like I said, that that's not the meaning of it. You know what I'm saying? Just because you got that name, I don't mean that you half-ass. You know what I'm saying? But I've known a lot of half-ass people that chose that method. She said, what if their parents gave them that name from birth, but their parents weren't Muslim? So that's the example that I just was speaking on. You know what I'm saying? If it's something where the person is saying, right, that I put this into for activation, right? By getting the knowledge of myself. You know what I'm saying? But you know, even with those people, right, what I'll notice, right, is they'll have something else though. Like say if they was born with the name Jamal, they'll put something like Infinite Jamal or Jamal Divine. If they wouldn't just say Jamal Allah. Most of the brothers that I know, that's the situation. But look, there is people. They see you got the name Jamal right there, right? Now look, you know Jamal Shabazz. Now see, Jamal Shabazz is somebody that you know, when I meet him, you got kind of two Muslim names here. You got the kind of two Muslim names, right? You got the waves. You got the Farrakhan haircut. You know what I'm saying? You know, and for the time, you know what I mean? And you know, Jabal used to walk around, you know, halfway suited and booted. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was like the type of thing where it's like, you know, because we dressing, you know, we dressing for the streets. You know what I'm saying? We going to war every day, so we dress. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, uh, yeah, that was kind of, you know, one of the things I did the knowledge to, uh, you know, concerning his name, but uh, because you know the name, you know, even that you can see, you know, in various people's names, you know, sometimes, uh, you know, different ideas that they might have came from in the past. So I guess that's a good place right there. We go ahead and wind this one down. You said I was born Jamil Ali. When I got knowledge, I took sincere scientific. But when I relinquished it, I went back to my birth name because it was built up in righteousness. Well, I don't know about Ali. See, we you know, Ali is to at least to me. I don't speak Arabic. You know what I'm saying? But Ali is just short of Allah. But I can see why you went back to the Jamil part. Uh, but so we're gonna try to get back on for the rest of the week. I got some other stuff for us to cover. You know what I'm saying? I think we're gonna go back to Professor Liang. You know what I'm saying? I got he got a couple of episodes. We're not gonna go in order. You know what I'm saying? Like we watched, I think that was episode 28. So we're gonna be skipping around to some of the ones that I think is the most applicable to what we talk about on here. You know what I'm saying? But I do have a couple of topics that Professor Leanne covered. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna stay on top of this. We're gonna stay on top of this possible mothership sighting right here, right? You know what I'm saying? If there's any updates in that coverage, we're gonna get back to that. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, VC Round, he said he sent me a link about there's supposed to be a moon that's supposed to be uh, in the Earth's orbit, I guess, for the next 50 years or something. He said we're gonna see what's going on with that. You know what I'm saying? If we got any new people that made it this far, join the channel, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can know when we come in. Everybody else, do the each one teach one, hit the like button. In the meantime, between time, I'm gonna sign off and say peace.